What's up, everybody, and welcome to the Shred Show Live with me, Josh Pitts, and special guest. Yes, we're in person. This isn't virtual. Me and Matt Hansen, CEO and founder of SimpleNexus, are hanging out at that beautiful building here. And there's not a lot of people here. Of course, we're practicing social distancing. You can see me and Matt. We've had plenty of hand sanitizer, but I'm excited to have Matt on the show. I've never had him on the show, and excited to be talking about SimpleNexus. But before we get too far into that, as always, we appreciate you taking time and joining us. If you're joining us right now, comment hashtag shred because you're joining us, you're shredding with us, you're having a good time. And if you're joining us on the replay, make sure you comment hashtag hustle. You actually can see Matt's hat. It actually says hustle, and that's one of their hats. That's not even one of my hats. So me and Matt, we coordinated today. We actually didn't, but it just worked out. But Matt, welcome to the Shred Show. I appreciate you joining us today, man.
Yeah, thanks. It's awesome.
I'm excited. This is kind of your first time. I know you, being a CEO of a company, you're always in front of them, but this is your first time kind of doing a podcast like this, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I mean, yes. I feel lucky.
Well, I'm excited. And I love having new people on the show, especially kind of getting them out of their comfort zone. And this is out of your comfort zone. This isn't something you do all the time, which that's what I'm excited about, is to sit down and talk about Matt Hansen, talk about the SimpleNexus story. So before we get too far into everything and the things that we're going to talk about the industry. We're going to be talking about a lot of fun stuff. But before we get too far into that, tell us about Matt Hansen. Kind of tell us about your background, because you're more, you've been in the industry now since 2011, but before that, you weren't even in the mortgage industry, right? Your family was.
Right. Yeah, I was the black sheep. So my family, my mom, two brothers-in-law were in the industry. So there were three of them. Before that, I've been a software engineer for 13, 14 years. And I was SimpleNexus started because I was at a family dinner, and my brother-in-law said, I'm kind of tired of borrowers calling me, asking me what their monthly payments would be if they put another $1,000 down on their loan. So could you build me an app with a calculator in it? And like at the time, it's 2011, right? So anybody will install an app. It was actually it was very, very into 2010, but he's like, can you build this? And if it's an app, anybody will install it. So, I had built a few apps just kind of for fun. So I said, yeah, I like to build stuff. So I could probably do it on Saturday.
I'll give it a shot,
So yeah, so I built that, and then, and put his face on it and his phone number. And then my mom wanted one. So I built one for her, and then another brother-in-law wanted one. And their peers and coworkers wanted them. And I'm just having fun building stuff. Right? I just think it's awesome that everybody's using my thing.
So
cool. I just think it's cool. And my wife, eventually she came. I probably built like 100 of them. My wife eventually came to me, and she's like, if you're not going to spend time with me, do you think you could charge people? And I thought, well, that sounded more like a recommendation than an idea.
That's awesome.
So yeah.
So actually, we have your wife to thank for a lot of this.
Oh yeah. Actually, we could go into that. It'd be a whole other episode though.
That's awesome.
So yeah, I kept going and rounded up a couple of buddies. And we started adding a little more infrastructure to the system, and started collecting credit cards from individual LOs, right? And first I felt like a little guilty, like, I don't know, should I give them their money back? But it was bringing value,
Sure.
and kept growing. And then, Dodd-Frank came along and started getting some teeth. And so companies are coming to me like, you got to shut this down. Like you have to stop all this, right? Loan officers can't go out and just do their own thing anymore. Like, we can't have that. So we ended up finding a solution where we could give organization level control. And so, just kept building. Eventually I was still working my normal job,
right?
But eventually it just, this kind of just kept growing. So finally in 2014, I had to make the decision, look, I can't do both things. I can't work my normal job and do this. And I was perfectly happy in my job, worked for a great company, and enjoyed what I did. But I thought, what am I going to regret more? I can never know the right choice.
Sure.
But what am I going to regret more? So I decided to go for it, decided to do it. And we finally, we got to about, 45 employees, decided to raise capital in 2018. And so today we're 115 employees. We feel good. We're still in control of our own destiny. Our investors aren't aren't they haven't they're not in a position to take the reins today.
Right.
Where many other companies are, which we feel fortunate during these times.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we get to make our own choices, and we're not driven by spreadsheet.
Which is one of those things, being able to drive the ship and still being able to focus on the necessities and what the industry really needs. That's what I love, which we'll talk more about. But I mean, you mentioned 115 employees. We're here, your guys' corporate office. It's this big corporate, beautiful office. There's only a couple of people here, which to me, being a tech company and you guys making this transition, you guys made it seamlessly. Like, this wasn't something where you basically had to shut down all operations for a few days and try to reorganize. You guys seamlessly transitioned, like, hey, you know what? We need to get everybody home. We need to make sure they stay safe. We need to keep them, isolated as much as possible so this pandemic doesn't spread. That was just a seamless transition for you guys.
It was pretty quick. Yeah. So it seems, as far as the Corona type stuff goes, New York and California are about 4 or 5 days ahead of everybody else.
Sure.
Generally speaking. So, we could see what was happening, writings on the wall. So 2 weeks ago, I came into work that morning with no intentions of sitting at a home. And then by 11 a.m., announced to the company, look, tomorrow we're not coming in.
Wow.
So the next day, far as I could tell, every meeting was held, internally and externally. We really didn't, we were really fortunate. Like, we really didn't experience any blips. Our servers are all cloud-based. We don't have anything in the office here. Other than a server that monitors internal network traffic, looking for, any type of, systemic, like viral type stuff. But
that, to me, being a tech company of that size, having as many clients as you guys do, that's just, that you got to basically say that it's not just you as a leader, it's your team. You got to, give a huge kudos and shout out to your entire team.
That's what it all is. Yeah.
That's so cool. The organization, you've got Ben, you've got some great people at the helm with you, but you look to your other leaders within the company, and being able to make that type of transition, that says leaps and bounds about a company. And that's what I think. One of the things too, why I'm really excited to be hanging out with Matt, is we're both local, but here in Utah, that's why we're doing this show. Being a Utah-based company, being able to have the employees that you do here, helping the economy, helping our communities, that's another exciting thing for me, is being a local Utah company. And you're born and raised Utah, right?
Born and raised.
Where at in Utah?
Went to high school at Bingham.
He's a miner. For all you Utah people out there, I know we have a lot of Utah Bingham miners. So let's talk about SimpleNexus. SimpleNexus, a lot of people, they know what it is, but going back to your story, and you basically started creating this out of necessity. You had your brother-in-law, then your mom, all these people in the mortgage industry. You start building this cool app, and clearly you could see that in 2014, when you made this transition, that you had something here, and you guys continue to innovate. You guys continue to change. Talk a little bit, for those who don't actually know what SimpleNexus is or the solution that you guys provide, talk a little bit about that, like what you guys' core is right now.
Yeah. So, we started, like I mentioned, kind of like as this marketing tool, right? The product really has experiences built out for the realtor, for the loan officer, for the borrower. We've got processor roles. And it's really about bringing different professionals together to help get the home and the mortgage done. We are mobile first, because that's where we still believe the world is headed. Despite what people say about apps or that kind of stuff, reality is, this month we'll see north of 100,000 loan applications start in our system.
Holy smokes.
We're touching closer to probably 230,000 loans a month, because a lot of them still naturally, they will get manually typed into the LOS.
Sure.
But we provide tools for the loan officers to send pre-approval letters and all these other types of things. So we pick up what gets entered in the LOS also. But what we see on those numbers is more than half of the loan applications are done from the phone.
Holy cow! Half of
more
those?
Than half. Yeah, I think it's like 56% now.
Holy smokes!
So we've got a lot of data, and that number seems to be trending upward. So we still believe in that.
And I think you hit the nail on that. All of us have one of these. We carry our cell phones, becoming a mobile-centric type of technology, where it's, like you said, it's not so much an app, it's more of a mobile-centric or a mobile usage. one of the I guess the first times that I really saw the benefits of SimpleNexus, not the, I don't want to say just the only benefit, but I saw an LO who was able to basically take an app while they were out. Like, I think they were a soccer game. I can't remember, soccer game or basketball game. It was one of our friends, and he did it all on his phone. Like, you can take an application, you can send a pre-approval from your phone.
Oh yeah.
Like, it's all, you don't have to go run back to the office if you're out on a day. That's one of the solutions that you're able to provide to everybody using SimpleNexus, and you guys continue to innovate that process as well. There's a ton of innovation that you guys are working on right now.
Yeah, every 6 months it's different. Yeah.
Dang, that's crazy. And one of the things that you and I were talking about, that being that there's the social distancing going on, that's one of the, I mean, to me, probably one of the coolest things that you guys have provided is, hey, you still have to build relationships. You still have to go out there, and your guys' tools, your guys' solution actually helps build those relationships and keep in touch with those people.
Yeah, well, you want to build relationships, but you don't want to collect paper, right? And so, hey, so let's say, for the documents that aren't digital that you have to collect, instead of meeting somebody or having somebody go download CamScanner and send it through CamScanner, which I mean, let's say they scan it through CamScanner. Well, now they got the images on their phone.
Yep.
And they're going to email them, so it's in their email, and it's in the LO or processor's email, and then it's on whatever they download it to before they put it in the LOS. So you've like just spread it all over the place, as opposed to having a single solution here where our platform can do everything CamScanner does, and we white label for the lender, so the lender looks better, right? And it's totally secure, right? And it's secure. It's encrypted on the client's phone, so it's not even stored as a clear image on their phone. So Instagram isn't going to ask to share it or take it, right?
Yep.
But then it's going to go straight in the LOS.
Oh, so smart. Anybody who knows what CamScanner is, you're probably like, oh my gosh, this isn't amazing. Because I know what CamScanner is. I've used it, and it's using it with your consumers. Like you said, you're getting their data all over the place. Like, it's not even just on your phone anymore. It gets everywhere.
As elegant as that solution is, it's messy.
Oh, it's so messy. And I don't think people see that. People see that as like, especially being from an industry, in the mortgage industry, real estate industry, when CamScanner came out, we're all like, oh my gosh, this is revolutionary. This is awesome, which it is. We're not bashing it in any way. It just puts that data everywhere. And within SimpleNexus' system, it's the one, like, it doesn't go outside of that system. It stays within it. You don't have to worry as a consumer, which I think, I mean, talking about the times that we're in right now, I guess the least amount you can get your data out there, the less amount of people that are touching your data, the better. And you guys provide that solution. That's part of the SimpleNexus solution.
Yep.
One of the things that I think is exciting as well, as we continue to talk about social distancing, as we continue to talk about tech in our industry, there is a lot of tech within the industry right now, Matt. There's a ton of tech, and you go to these tech conferences, and there's some great tech out there. But when it comes to being a tech solution, I think we're going to start to see companies like yourselves start to have tech alliances. And that's something that I saw at you guys' Snug event. There was an incredible event. You guys saw us. We did a lot of live from there. But you guys are doing these tech alliances, which I think is so brilliant. Everybody that I talked to at this event was like, SimpleNexus, they're the first ones we go to when it comes to starting to integrate. Talk a little bit about that, because you guys have, how many companies have you integrated with? I mean, there's I don't even know if you know those numbers.
A little over 200 other vendors that we've integrated with at this point. And yeah, I mean, so I mean, part of it's based on, the belief that the companies that can successfully integrate with the other companies are going to be the ones that come out of this.
Sure.
Right. I mean, despite the ambitions of the tech companies that they're coming into space saying they're going to do everything, it's complicated.
Very complicated.
And it turns out to be more complicated than was projected initially.
Sure.
And so what we want to do is we just want to support the vendors in their specialty in the space. We just want to bring it together.
Again, I can't stress this enough. We did a lot of lives at SimpleNexus' Snug event, and all these alliances that you've brought together. And I think that's something that you and I have talked about before, that you guys kind of are that central hub of this alliance, bringing them together. We need to have more collaborations. We need to have integrations. And something that SimpleNexus has done so perfectly, and you and I have had this conversation in the past, is you've had opportunities to move into other industries, but you've stayed so so focused on the mortgage industry. You've never gone outside of that. And SimpleNexus, you and I've talked about it. You don't plan on or probably never will. It's just mortgage all the time. You're going to stay in your lane and be really good at that. When there you have other tech companies in the space who are kind of going, oh, we'll go try this. We'll go try this. SimpleNexus is focused on mortgage in particular.
Yeah. So, I mean, when we started, we thought, hey, we've got this technology that we could go and like, we could sell to like insurance agents. And but mortgage ended up becoming really fascinating to me. And it felt like it was just like, it was too complicated.
It's so true.
I mean, I'm not criticizing it. I'm just saying that's actually like, it's intellectually like intriguing. Right.
Right.
So yeah, we have expanded a little bit in the sense of mortgage.
Sure.
Where we kind of started out as a marketing tool, then we kind of started to get into some of the manufacturing process, just based on demand and need, right? And we intend to continue both of those things, but we're becoming more about the homeownership journey, right?
Ooh, heck yeah.
And not so much about the manufacturing of loans, which has been really, really popular.
Sure.
Lately, and rightly so, and it will continue to be. But we want to blur the lines between real estate and mortgage. We want to keep the consumer and keep that relationship going on after they close on their home, right? And whereas a lot of times today with the manufacturing process, that's exactly what it is. You manufacture it and it's out the door and it's gone.
Done.
But what our product teams are really trying to prioritize what really brings the biggest value for the lenders through that whole home ownership journey.
Sure.
We're not trying to do different types of loans as far as, we're not trying to, we're not trying to do student loans or anything like that. We're like
Right.
very focused on homeowners
Nice.
and that journey and white labeling that for the lender. And so the lender builds this relationship that goes on forever.
So let's talk about that, because I love this idea of a journey, and it really is. All of us know, anybody in this industry knows that it's not, people don't want a mortgage. Like nobody wants a loan on their home. Like that's just absolutely, we'd be crazy to have that amount of debt or asset, whatever you want to call it, that nobody wants a loan. They want the home. And it's getting to that home, that journey that you're referring to, that people really want. And the more we can simplify it and actually make it an enjoyable journey. We've all been on those journeys in our life where we're like, man, this journey sucked. And like you go back to why you focused on this industry, is you kind of saw as like, this is kind of a broken process. Like, can we simplify, like in SimpleNexus, simplify this process? And that's what you've done.
Well, yeah, I mean, look at how many logins a borrower has to have.
So true.
To get there. And I'm not talking about just, I mean, you can look at that, just the loan process. And they're going to have like 3 or 4 different logins, right? Often, like it's very common.
100%.
Right. But then you add on the real estate side and you add on the title side, and then like getting moved into their home, and they've got to call these utility companies, and it gets like before you know it, they've got 7 logins just
So
to get to buy their house. And that seems, I mean, right now it's necessary, but in the future, that's not necessary.
Which I agree with, which talking about the future, you kind of referenced this. You talked about after that loan closes, a lot of times to a lot of companies out there, once that transaction is done, it's like, okay, moving on to the next deal. You talk about this journey, and after the journey, what type of solution, or what are you guys doing for once that homeowner has actually closed that journey? What does that look like at SimpleNexus? How do you continue to build this relationship that you're talking about?
Well, today we don't do much. But I see a time when instead of the realtor handing a piece of paper to the homeowner and saying, okay, call your utility companies by Friday or they get shut off, right? Like, okay, don't lose that paper.
Yeah, that's the one we don't want to mess up.
Yeah. Well, if they've already been using this experience for the last 30, 45, 60 days, and they've already been trained like to sign their disclosures in there, they've searched for their home in there, they've applied, they fulfilled conditions. Well, we're going to pay attention when there's another important action.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. And if you say, well, hey, like set up your utilities here. Oh, that seems nice.
Easy enough.
And then, moving into their home, and managing their home all under the name of the lender. Seems like that's something that makes sense for the future to me. And and then the lender becomes synonymous with the home, right?
Yeah.
And not the, the proctologist. I mean, so
It's so true though. Like it's 100% true. The fact, going back to the logins, all of us have been there. And if you're watching this now live, which we have a lot of people watching live, first and foremost, thanks again for joining us. And if you are just tuning in, I'm sitting down, I'm with Matt Hansen at SimpleNexus, CEO, and we're talking about so many things. Going back to this logins, we've all been there. And if you're watching this, comment below how many logins you have. And again, we're seeing more and more simple, but I know that I've seen LOs, like even at our company where my license hangs, like if you're using ShareFile or Dropbox or whatever, like these consumers of ours are getting so many different logins, and most of the time they're not ever using them again. This innovation that you're talking about and this simplicity is like, hey, number one, you get one login, like it's just all in one place. But then also after the transaction is done, you can use this in lenders, originators, you should be listening to this and really be tuning in, because it's, hey, we got the mortgage done, but now you can provide that value that you mentioned earlier. There's things that you can stay in front of your consumer with, whether it's, like you said, documents with how to turn on the water or electricity. It's little things like that you can provide to them as a solution as well.
Yeah.
So again, this just becomes, you see all that SimpleNexus encompasses and everything that you're putting into, and it really does it becomes that one-stop shop. Now, let me ask you that, because there's a lot of companies out there that are LOS, POS, LMS. Like there's so many different acronyms out there right now. Again, you guys are kind of becoming that central hub of kind of an all-encompassing system. Is that what your plan was in the beginning?
No. It's actually, I mean, it's totally lucky that like the SimpleNexus name actually fits with that.
It's so true.
Because it does. But no, the initial thought of our name, and I'm shifting a little bit here on you, but
yeah,
the initial thought was bringing relationships together, right? It would be the
awesome.
glue to bring relationships together. It started to turn out that now we're bringing technologies together.
That's so cool,
and hopefully serves both purposes, right?
Which I want to go back to this relationship, because I think relationships, we talk about this in the industry, we all need to focus on relationships, but this tool, this software, that your guys' system, that really does allow us to, something that we hear a lot about, and we even, before we got on the live, we were talking about this, is creating new referrals, creating new leads. I think we need, as an industry, need to move away from the name of referral and lead, because ultimately when we're working with a consumer, it's a relationship. Like that's what should be focused on, is it's not somebody's a referral. We should look at somebody as, oh, I just got I'm building a new relationship.
If you look at it like a transaction, that's what it is.
Yeah, that's true.
Right. Like you check them out, give them their receipt and take the next customer. Right. But they may or may not be back.
Right.
But yeah, if you can change that.
Absolutely. So let's talk about some more of the innovations. You've mentioned a few of them that you guys are working on. What's on the roadmap? And especially, again, as the industry becomes even more mobile, as you guys become more mobile, you already are mobile, but some of the things that you're focused on, what are some of the innovations you guys are working on right now that really are going to get people excited?
Yeah. This is where we've actually, so while our business continuity plan to get everybody working remotely didn't really require much from us, our product shifting has changed quite dramatically in the last couple of weeks. Our product roadmap has changed a lot more towards heavy focus on team efforts. So for example, right now, let's say on the lender side, a processor knows the status of something. Right. And so the loan officer is going to ask him for the status because the realtor wanted to know. So the loan officer is going to communicate it to the realtor, and the realtor is going to miss that email in their world of emails. And so then they're going to ask the processor for the same status.
Yep.
And those kind of, and then, interactions with the title agent, interactions with potentially the underwriter. The borrower is going to want to know things.
Always.
And the loan officer's checking every day, so they can then be the relay person.
Yeah, 100%.
Right.
We're the middleman of it all.
Right. And so in April, we will be releasing our first version of internally we've been calling it ConneXus. I don't know if that's what it'll be when we release it, right?
You heard it here first if that's what it is.
But what it really is like a secure channel for teams to chat, kind of like Slack.
Yeah, sure.
But within the, a compliant, secure channel for in the context of loans.
So I want to pause on this for a second, because this is something like, start wrapping your head around this, ladies and gentlemen. So what if, because again, something our job as an originator is that middle person. Like we're like, oh, I got an update from the real estate agent. Now I got to tell the consumer what's going on here. Oh, I got an update from the underwriter. I'm going to go update my client, because we're all about, that's our value proposition, Matt. Like, this more than anybody. Like, as an originator, our value proposition is keeping everybody up to date, keeping everybody connected. So this connects us, which freaking money play on words, by the way. Well done, whoever thought of that name. But connects us. You can basically have one central hub where all communication is going. That's what you're referring. Like, that's what this is.
And you can have like breakout channels, right?
Sure.
Like maybe just the processor and the loan officer want to communicate on something, and nobody else will see that. That's fine. And that's built into it. But yeah, I mean, the goal is to get the loan officer out building relationships, right?
Exactly.
So you get the value proposition during the loan, but man, imagine if that all just happened for you and you could just go get more loans.
Holy crap. Like that it goes back to so many tech solutions are trying to feel like, how do we get originators to go out and focus on building relationships? You're creating a hub where, imagine this, originators, which that's who our show is tailored to, is if the underwriter put out an update and your client just saw that and you didn't have to be the middleman, like it's just happening while you're out there doing what you do best, building relationships. That's what you're referring to.
Yeah, and it's a central place to look at everything, because we all know like emails have mediocre success these days because there's just too many of them.
That's 100%.
Texts get noticed, but they're really distracting. And quite honestly, now I'm starting to get enough of those. I'm like,
ignoring
I just want
them.
to turn it off.
Yep, I agree.
And so just for people to have here's the command center. Like, here's just like everything with your home. It's right here.
Man, the simplicity of that SimpleNexus, we go back, like just being able to have that central hub, going back to, and everybody knows I'm very honest about this. I don't originate anymore, but being able, as an originator, having my team, having the real estate agent, having my title agent, like having everybody in a central hub in a group. And what's even cool is like these groups that you're talking about, you're referring to, I can create, and I would assume I could create a group with a lot of the referral partners, my real estate agents, be able to have them in a group where I can probably add new conversations to that as well.
Yeah, today it's going to be loan based.
Nice.
But in the future, then we'll look at maybe other channels. But initially, it's going to be within the security of that loan.
That it's still that in itself. So is this where they're able to, let's say a consumer, they're part of this channel, they're part of this group. Can they share? Is that where they share documents as well? It's all that central hub.
I think that like documents within that channel, I'm speaking based on what I understand right now, where the team's at, that will not be in version 1.
Sure.
But down the road, yeah.
Even the fact that you can have those conversations, have those updates through this system, and you're hearing it first from Matt, guys. Like, that's what I love. And you even said it a few minutes ago, like 6 months down the road from where we are now, how will things innovate? How will things change? And you guys are always thinking of those different innovations. And that's what I'm so excited about. And that's, as I see tech, and as I've traveled this entire last year and seeing different tech and different things in the space, I continue the conversations that you and I have as friends. And as we see what's going on in the industry, you guys continue to just stay up to date and you listen to the origination community.
Like, yeah. Well, so just, I mean, to circle back a little bit on what else is changing, right? Yeah. We've got one of our product teams, while e-closing was scheduled to get worked on later this year, they're working on it now.
Kind of taking a forefront, right?
Because before it was nice.
Sure.
Now it's necessary.
Absolutely.
So that's, now that's an active effort.
So walk us through that. What is an e-closing? I mean, is it all mobile? Is it like, what does that e-closing look like? You could
do it from your phone.
Wow.
Right. I mean, you got a camera, you got a face camera. I mean, if you want to have a notary come in and join that, yeah, that's like, it actually works quite well.
Do you think that's where our industry is going? It will be, I mean, who knows, in a couple of years from now, and maybe you even can, maybe you know this better than me. Could you do an entire start to finish loan on your phone?
Oh yeah. Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, well, hang on. Let me back up. There are a couple of documents that you still have to wet sign.
Okay.
But you can take a picture of those documents with your phone and, send those in through. So almost everything, but you still need a pin on a couple of things. That being said, with what we do with disclosures, for example, you know, I mean, we know VA loans. I mean, what's that? Was that like 10% of the loans?
Yep.
But you've got a few. So you know, even veterans can e-sign everything now through our platform as far as disclosures and everything goes, like closest near living relative. That.
Whoa.
But you know, there are other documents that particular states require
Sure.
for you to sign that aren't always e-signable. And so we have done a lot there to at least reduce the wet sign.
Dude, that's so cool. So do you think within the next couple of years, and even these wet sign documents, state to state is very different, and we'll see how, especially as things progress in this social distancing world, we might even see some things put into effect where even those wet sign documents, they may be able to.
You can start to ask yourself, how long will wet sign documents be acceptable?
That's a good thought.
Right? I mean, like there's not as much trackability with those, right? I mean, yeah, you can get like some forensic analysis to try and determine a signature, but when through electronic signatures, you've got so many more fingerprints all over it.
That's 100% true. Huh. But again, that's the thing as a technology company, you kind of have your thumb on, you look at those things, you analyze them. And the fact that you moved up e-closings, I mean, the fact that you can be nimble enough as a software company and be like, okay, e-closings we had that plan later in the year. We're going to put that forefront. Like that's kind of a cool to be able to transition something. Cause I would assume that's not a small undertaking. Like I would assume that's a, pretty big, like, hey teams, we got to kind of change our focus.
Yeah. I mean, it's months of work.
Just months, not a big.
Well, I mean, everything always gets better, but
right,
to bring it to market.
That's so cool. What else is exciting for you? Let's talk about a real quick shift from everything that SimpleNexus is doing for the industry for you. Like, what are your thoughts on everything that's going on? I know there's we do have a pandemic. We're not making light of anything, but what are your thoughts on the industry? Where we go from here? Kind of just your general thoughts on what's going on.
Well, this will change things.
Of course.
Right? It won't be life is back to normal in August, right? That's just not true.
Sure.
This will permanently change things. I do believe that we're really fortunate to be in the industry that we're in, because our industry is so important to economic stability. And we had our trial run in 2008, honestly. And so not only are we like, to some degree emotionally prepared, but the Fed is way more prepared, right? How long did it take us in 2008 to start getting some stimulus packages passed and put out there? I mean, it took a lot longer, right? Now we've seen a quicker drop this time, but the Fed already had that in the arsenal ready to go. We just got the new bill, $2 trillion bill passed. It's 30% bigger than anything we saw in 2008. And so we're in an industry that has been deemed critical to our economic stability.
Sure.
And so you're gonna have some people who can't make their mortgage payment. The people will lose their jobs. A lot of people lose their jobs, and that's going to create chaos.
Yeah.
Right? We're seeing some non-QM stability issues out there. It's not like everything's going to be perfect, but you know what? It's a heck of a lot better than being Delta.
That's true.
I mean, and I love Delta.
Yeah, me too.
But geez, like I wouldn't want to be them right now. That'd be really, really hard. And that's not what we're experiencing here. That is not our industry. So
I think something you mentioned, and I hope you guys all heard this, and I want you to share this if you did. You said right now we are fortunate to be in this industry. There's a lot of doom and gloom, and there's a lot of people talking about, yes, our industry is going to change. Even you openly admit, like we all understand that this is going to be a change. Like it's not going to be tomorrow. It's not going to be May. It's going to be months and months and even years. Like this industry is changing. It's evolving. And I think I say this all the time. The one constant in the mortgage industry is change. You have to be able to adapt. You have to be willing to make some shifts. But we are fortunate. It doesn't matter how bad, how bleak it may look. We're still fortunate to be in this industry, Matt. Like we're relatively blessed. However you want to look at it. And yes, we may lose some loans as originators. We may lose some loans with non-QM and some things that are being changed. But ultimately, like you said, that our economy, real estate and mortgage is such a foundation of the economy. They're not just going to do away with the industry.
Yeah, that's not to say every company in our space.
No, of course not. No,
but as a whole, collectively, our industry is very healthy.
And that is so good to hear. Like coming from a leader of our industry, coming from somebody who people look to, especially in these times, like we need more of that mentality that you have. Like, hey, we are fortunate. Like, we had Laura Brandeo from AFR on the show earlier this week saying the same thing. And it's great to be able to see our leaders like you, Matt, being able to say like, hey, we're fortunate. Really take a step back for a minute. As bleak as things look, like, we still are a very fortunate industry. And hey, now it's time to, especially right now, maybe it's time to look at your business, see where you can really start to simplify it, start to use the tools, the technology that really are going to help moving forward. And especially going back to, as we've mentioned many times, what are the tools and technologies that are going to help you build relationships more and more and more? Because that's ultimately what it comes back to. And that's ultimately what you guys at SimpleNexus are focused on, is building that relationship, maintaining that relationship over long term.
Yeah. It's just to say, I just want everybody, if anybody is concerned about our industry, your problems are less than other people's. So for example, I mean, SimpleNexus hasn't had a big history of raising capital.
Sure.
Right? We had one round.
Yep.
It's gone fairly well according to plan, but we don't have intentions for another round. But if you look into like the venture capital industry, they're freaking out right now.
Sure.
They're doing everything they can just to save their portfolios.
Right.
And companies who are raising capital to try and get through to the next, hey, you raise capital to get through 12, 18 months. Well, it's not like it was easy. It was easy for a while. It's not going to be easy now.
So true.
And they've got a much broader spectrum of exposure to the economy, or just, a lot of companies that are starting out or younger. Man, we are lucky.
Yeah,
we are lucky.
I was gonna say the ultimate underlying of what you're talking about is we are fortunate. There's other industries, there's other people that are in a lot worse positions than we are. So really take a step back. Everybody watching, everybody listening, Matt, you couldn't have nailed it better. We are in a very fortunate, and we're in a very good place, like as an industry, as individual originators, as companies. And like you said, unfortunately, there will be some fallout. There will be companies who don't make it through this, and those in particular, in our thoughts and our prayers, we want everybody to, the job report that just came out, 3.3 million job or unemployment claims last week. Which, yes, many of our communities are going to be affected by this. But we as an industry, this is where we need to band together, work together, from tech alliances to the relationships that we're building. That's where we really need to focus. So I love that as a leader, a CEO, you're continuing to spread that hope, spread that message to not only your company, but to the entire industry. So kudos and thank you for doing that. It's good to hear when a CEO is just like, you know what, we're going to be okay.
Well, it's real, right?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I'm not gonna like pretend something's good when it isn't.
Yeah.
Like by and large, we're pretty lucky.
100% agree. And on that, ladies and gentlemen, this has been one of our longest episodes. This is absolutely awesome. This has been one of those where hopefully, especially here at the end, there's been so many pieces of SimpleNexus that we've talked about, so many pieces of innovation and technology. Anything you want to end on, Matt, that you've already mentioned a lot of things that you're working on innovation wise, but anything else you want people to be aware of or keep an ay on with SimpleNexus here in the future?
I mean, thank you for letting me join you here. It's an honor. Hey, look, like I say, I mean, things are different every 6 months.
Yeah.
So that's what we're going to keep fighting for. Keep making lives better. We're here. We're fighting for the originator. Believe in the originator. And that they should be out generating business, not processing business.
Whoa, that is the note we're going to end on, ladies and gentlemen. You should be out building relationships. And it's companies like SimpleNexus and leaders like Matt that are making that happen for you as originators. That's why you guys got to check out SimpleNexus, all that they're doing, simplenexus.com. Check out everything. And we're going to have Matt on the show again here in the future. We're going to have some other great people from SimpleNexus talking about this incredible technology. So Matt, cannot thank you enough. In this, Utah's not on lockdown. I've seen some comments come through like, you guys should not be talking in person. That's why we're practicing.
My wife and I, we had a very long discussion about this. So yeah, she keeps me safe. We're good balance. Yes, those comments are by and large accurate.
Yes.
But
We're practicing social distancing, but Matt and I are good friends. We made, like I said, we sanitized, washed our hands. That's why we got a little gap. That's why we're not sitting too close. But we want to thank everybody for tuning in, and the questions that came in, we'll go back and answer them. There were a lot of questions that came in and we didn't get to them. So we'll make sure we get all of them answered. And again, if you have questions about SimpleNexus, you can reach out to myself and Matt. We'll direct you to the proper channels, but go to simplenexus.com and you can learn more about them. But again, as always, guys, we appreciate you tuning in. Matt, we appreciate you joining us live and taking some time out of your busy day to hang out with us, man. Really appreciate it.
Yep.
A lot more to come, guys. As always, we appreciate you. We love you. Now it's time to go shred, go show up, hustle, repeat every day. See ya.